hurt my back.
We all set? Okay. Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you for being here. I'm sorry for being delayed, a little traffic during school time. My name is Dean Trantalis, Mayor of the City of Fort Lauderdale, and I invite you to Snyder Park here this afternoon because we have an important announcement to make on behalf of the City of Fort Lauderdale. Starting tomorrow at 8 a.m., we are announcing that we are doubling our capacity for COVID-19 testing. We currently have a testing site at Mills Pond Park in which we accommodate up to 1,200 tests per day. With the new arrangement here at Snyder Park, we are now going to be able to accommodate up to 1,500 tests per day. That's both the rapid test and the PCR test, depending upon whichever the particular patient seeks. This is an important milestone for the community because the City of Fort Lauderdale recognizes the importance of testing. In order to be safe and to save others from the spread of this disease, knowing whether or not you have the disease is crucial. This was the case from the very beginning of COVID-19 back in December of 2019, in which many people didn't know whether or not they had it. Testing became so important. It continues to remain important because by knowing whether or not you are positive, whether you have symptoms or not, is an important factor in understanding how we're going to prevent the spread of this disease. We are partnering this initiative with Allied Health, and today I have with me Ron LaChica, who's here to speak about the process. I also have with me our Fire Chief, Rhoda May Kerr, who will also talk about the methodologies to ensure the safety and the viability of the program. I also have with us, of course, our Assistant Chief, Luis Alvarez, who's here to also answer questions. We are very proud to be able to say that we are strong partners in the fight against this disease. It's really, really important that we eradicate it. The first and foremost method by which we can defend ourselves against this disease, of course, is by getting vaccinated. And not just once, not just twice, but to get boosted. And if that fourth boost comes around, to ensure that we provide that fourth booster shot to whomever becomes eligible. This is the only way we're going to eradicate COVID-19 from our community, from our state, and from the world. This is a worldwide pandemic. And right here at home, we're here to undertake our fair share. So I thank you all for being here today. It's an exciting moment in our city's undertaking to prevent the spread of this disease. And I now turn the mic over to our Fire Chief, Rhoda May Kerr, who has additional information to provide for us. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. There's not a whole lot more I can say. I think the Mayor said it all, but I think the big advantage here is going to be not only to the community, but to some of us as first responders, that there's another point where there's a resource that can help us do the testing. And I think for first responders in the hospital districts and all the hospitals, if people have a place to go and get tested, they're not calling 911 and asking us to transport them to the hospital for access to determine if they're positive or not. So we're really excited about the opportunities here, and we're really excited about keeping our community safer and in turn keeping our responders, our first responders safer too. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Ron LaChica. I represent Allied Health, and we're here to supply the test site here at Snyder Park. It'll have QR codes to make testing very easy. You can fill all the information out before you get up to the checkpoint to actually get tested. And we hope everything is provided in a safe and convenient manner for you guys. We also use a local lab testing matters so that we have turnaround times that are 24 to 48 hours.
Great, thank you. Okay. Thank you so much. Do you have any questions? Can you speak up a little bit? You know what? I can't hear a word you're saying. Okay. Well, I understand that the governor's chief medical officer has espoused the philosophy that unless you show symptoms of COVID, you don't need to be tested. But, you know, this is a worldwide pandemic. We don't really know how these viruses work entirely. Common sense would suggest that if there's even the possibility of a spread of this virus, that we would take every precaution in which to try to ensure prevention of, not only to prevent yourself from being sick, but to prevent others from being infected by you, whether or not you're symptomatic or otherwise. So to me, to say you shouldn't get tested, I think, you know, I'm not going to second guess the rationale behind the doctor's thinking, but as far as we're concerned here in the city of Fort Lauderdale, we believe that every tool in our arsenal should be undertaken in order to prevent the spread of this disease. Because let's not kid ourselves, this is a deadly disease. And while people are talking about how the Omicron virus, while it's more contagious, is less impactful, the reality is only 60% of the current disease is Omicron. 40% is still Delta. And the Delta variant is extremely deadly. And if we don't understand the importance of how this disease needs to be eradicated, and if we're trying to shortchange our communities and to fight it on the cheap, I think that we're kidding ourselves and thinking that we're ever going to be able to eradicate this disease. And Fort Lauderdale is not in any way interested in denying our community the ability to make sure that they are safe, that they're keeping others safe, and that this disease will ultimately be eradicated. And you want to add to that?
Yeah.
Sure.
So I'd kind of like to add something to that in regard to first responders. I think you all understand and realize how important it is that we have first responders available to respond and to ride in for our case, first in fire apparatus and our rescue units. And we have a process whereby when people come in, they test to determine whether they're negative or positive. There are many cases where we've had firefighters arrive on duty and they have no symptoms, but yet they test positive. And if they were to go into the firehouse, then now we have contaminated others. And now I have to send everybody home for that certain period of time. And then I don't have enough people to work and to ride this apparatus. There are some cities in this country that are browning out fire apparatus because they don't have enough firefighters. So if we can prevent the spread of the disease just by testing, it makes a whole lot of sense. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Any other questions? So in summary, it's our desire to work hand in hand with other government agencies. We work directly with the county, with the state, and the federal agencies that are directed to assist us in eradicating this disease and the spread of it. So while there may be different philosophies on the approach, I think everybody has the best interest of the community at heart, both the health of the community as well as the business health of this community. But I think that we all have to understand that this disease can only be erased from our day-to-day experience if we know it exists. And the only way to know how it exists or where it exists is through testing. And that's why we are proud to say that we have now more than doubled our testing capacity here in Fort Lauderdale, opening up Snyder Park to over almost 1,500 test packets a day. And we encourage anybody who in the slightest bit feels that they either have it or may have been around others that have been exposed to the COVID-19 virus, that they come to either Snyder Park or Mills Pond Park and get tested. Thank you. Yes, sir. Yes. You want to respond to that, Chief?
Yeah, as far as the police department is concerned, our number one priority is the safety of our employees. I mean, we can't keep the public safe if we can't keep ourselves safe. So we have seen an uptick in our department in the amount of COVID cases that we have. And when we do that, we put our protocols in place. We make sure we communicate well so every officer or civilian staff member knows exactly what to do when that happens. And like I said, we're not immune to this, so we do our best that we can, and we make sure that we have enough staffing to keep the city safe.
And I think to answer, I think your question was, have we had to decrease staffing or not put units in service? And we have not had to do that. What we have had to do is mandatory people to work so that every seat is filled when it comes time to emergency response.
If I can clarify one thing, we haven't had a single decrease in the level of service that we've had to provide the public based on the amount of positives that we had in our department. And that's only because the police officers that we have are taking extra duties. Our professional staff are doing double and triple the job that they normally do. So it's because of them stepping up because of this pandemic that we're able to provide that service.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you so much. We appreciate you being here this afternoon.